Welcome, everyone in the United States, Canada, and around the world to another powerful episode of It's a Wrap with Rap, the podcast that is the intersection of hope, resilience, purpose, and relevant topics. I am your host, Ron Rapaport. Now, today's episode is featuring our guest, Arthur Lih, the founder, inventor, and CEO of LifeVac, a patented choking rescue device that has saved thousands of lives worldwide. After spending 18 years co-building a highly successful logistics company, Arthur retired early to focus on family, creativity, and personal pursuits. Everything changed in 2012 when Arthur learned about the tragic death of a 7-year-old child who choked on a grape. As a father, he was driven to find a solution that could prevent unnecessary choking deaths. Using his engineering mindset and business experience, Arthur developed LifeVac and brought it to market. Today, LifeVac is used globally in homes, schools, restaurants, law enforcement agencies, and healthcare settings, with documented saves across all age groups from infants to the elderly. Arthur is a passionate advocate for choking prevention, education, and preparedness, and regularly speaks to communities, first responders, and organizations about life saving innovation, resilience, and purpose driven leadership. Arthur is the author of Sorry, Can't is a Lie, where he shares lessons from his entrepreneurial journey, personal setbacks, and the mindset required to turn adversity into impact. Welcome, Arthur, to the podcast.
Man, that was some introduction. Thank you. I'm so detailed, boy. I love it. Thank you.
Yeah, well, it's an honor having you here. I can't tell you how great the book was that I read, and and the product. It's just amazing. Now, Arthur, in your professional career, you have built successful businesses. Take us back to your early life. What experiences shaped your entrepreneurial mindset?
Well, I started driving a truck in air freight in 17, my senior year of high school. And, I look back, it was crazy. No CDLs. We were just driving. I was 17 driving a straight truck in Manhattan. And I did that all through college. And my senior year of college, I had a horrible accident, and my two best friends died, and I was pretty badly hurt. So I kind of stalled. My mission became to stay alive, not necessarily to pursue. I had a degree in sociology and history minor. I thought about law school, so I just wanted to live. I just woke up every day and tried to keep going. So I worked my way up through the chain of air freight. I drove a truck. I worked operations. I worked the dock. I worked night ops, day ops, customer service. And then I started doing sales. And I kind of realized that since I'd done all the jobs, why couldn't I do it myself? And I had a great partner. I used to call it Words and Music. He ran the operation. I went out and got the business. But the day we started, I said, I can't wait to sell this thing. And we had four people in the closet. But 18 years later, we persevered, got it up to about $22 million, and we're able to sell it. And at 47, I had visions of retirement.
Wow, that's great. Now, what were some early failures or setbacks that taught you resilience? And was there a defining moment when you realized adversity could be fuel instead of defeat?
Well, I've had quite a bit of very harsh adversity. I think the harshness of my initial adversity really softened all the other blows. I talk a little bit about a book. I know what a bad day is.
Yeah,
So, once you kind of foundationally know that whatever setback it is, and, trust me, we had a ton of them. It took a long time and we worked 20 hours a day and killed ourselves. But I think knowing that at the bottom of the line, no bad day is too bad if it's not as bad as that day.
yeah,
And then you just and waking up to just focus on living and making it through another day changes. You whatever you face is not that tough. And I've always been a determined person, whether it was sports or life. So I think a foundational bad day and the desire to succeed, to persevere no matter what.
Now, after successful years in business, you retired to spend time with your family, creativity, personal pursuits. But in 2012, everything changes when you learn about a tragic death of a 7-year-old child who choked on a grape and the Heimlich maneuver failed. How did you learn about that event and what set off your desire to create a device with your engineering background to work for choking prevention?
Well, I was coming home from work and it was late and I was tired, but my buddy's mom was in the hospital getting a procedure, and he's been my friend for 40 years now, and he's still with me at LifeVac. And I said, I should keep him company. So I stopped and we were sitting in kind of the waiting area and pre-cell phones. So it's just quiet, it's just me and him. And he points over at one of those steel gurneys, those cold gurneys. And he
Yeah.
says, yeah, and I could feel something's changing. And he says, last time I was here, there was a 7-year old on that gurney had choked to death. And I was like, what are you talking about? We're in a hospital. He said, yeah, nothing worked. The back blows, the chest, nothing worked. And he started to explain. Now, at that moment, I'm seeing my 7-year old on that gurney, already, and I'm having PTSD from my accident. And he describes the wailing and the pain of the mom, the dad, the staff, the emergency workers, just this horrible feeling. And my daughter was 7. And I said, I didn't know it didn't work, but man, I'm not going to let that happen. I will not survive. I'm her father. It's my job to take on something like this. So I initially just did it to save her. I didn't have any grandiose ideas to change the world. I was a scared dad, and I knew I'd be a scared dad. So the first thing I made, I kind of chucked it was too complicated. I said, it got to be simple, man, because I'm going to be scared. And the great thing about the technology now is you can get all sorts of information. I was able to find one child every 5 days, 5,000 people. I found force studies from the 70s on how much force is generated to dislodge an object. And then I threw it out and I went to Home Depot, man. I said, I'm unclogging a pipe, dumb it down. And I just stood. I said, I'm just going to look. And I saw that little sink plunger and I put it on my face and I pulled it and went just like right back now. You hear that
Yep.
pop?
There it is for our folks on YouTube.
Yeah. And that was the beginning. Once I knew I could save her, the thought of being the only one to save their child and knowing the pain of loss kind of started me thinking, man, I can't be the only one.
For our audience that's viewing this on YouTube, can you show that the life
Yeah,
back again?
it really, was a sink plunger. Now we make it. It's got a valve here, so when you push it down and you hear it rattle, the air goes out the side, so it won't push it any further down into your airway. So it's place, push it down, that air vents, and pull it out. And if you hear that pop, the over mouth and sucks out the object. Super simple, relatively panic proof. And we've now saved 5,600 plus lives and 3,600 kids.
Wow, unbelievable.
Yeah, it's
Can,
crazy.
can can you talk about the background story of your personal tragedy and all this to turn loss into a purpose?
Yeah, and I can even connect the moment. So, me and my buddies were going on a road trip. I had worked Friday night, Saturday day, had a date, and we just were driving on a road trip. I fell asleep. I mean, it was my fault, but it was an accident. Car went off the road. They died. I broke all my ribs, punctured my lung, broke my scapula, cut myself all up. But 2 weeks in intensive care, I lived. But that's why when we get a save, I have deep gratitude for the family. right? Because
Yeah.
I lived. I saw the devastation. I saw my friends. I saw their parents just crumble. I was crumbling. I wanted to kill myself for 20 years. And I would have if it wasn't for my mom. And I knew that would kill her. I can't do that. She's my
Right.
mom.
Right.
But here's the thing. So after I get it to work and it's good, I know I can save my daughter. We used to camp out every year before she went back to school, right? So she was little, 7, 8, 7. So I take my boat to the island. I set up a tent. I put the stuffed animals. We make a fire. Daddy daughter night before she goes to school.
Right.
My head's starting to spin. I'm like, how could I be the only one? Well, my other guy head is saying, you did this once. You spent 18 years killing yourself to get to this point. Relax. She's safe. You made it. But the Angels win it, you know, because of the accident. I'm saying, how could I live with knowing that I could have stopped that person from having the pain I have? So I looked at the sky. I'll never forget it. Put her to bed. I couldn't sleep. And I told her a story and she went to sleep. And I went outside and I looked up at the sky and I said, God, give me the strength. And as I said the word strength, a shooting star went across the whole sky. Not one of those little, one of these.
Wow.
And I said, okay, I
Have you ever stopped to think about what freedom really means and what it costs? Today, we're spotlighting a powerful, unforgettable story, 12 Bells to Freedom, by our podcast guest and author, Laszlo Shahida. This is not fiction. This is not imagination. This is a memoir based true story of one family's fight for survival during one of the most oppressive periods in modern history. Set in post World War II Hungary from 1945 to 1956, the year of the Hungarian Revolution, this book takes you deep into life under Soviet occupation, a time marked by fear, blacklists, constant surveillance, and the ever present danger of losing everything. Through the eyes of a family determined to survive, 12 Bells to Freedom reveals what it truly means to live under tyranny. It's a story of courage in the face of uncertainty, resilience in the face of injustice, and hope when everything around you says to give up. One of the most gripping moments in the book is their journey through the Sopron forest in Hungary, a desperate and dangerous path toward freedom. You'll feel the tension, the risk, and the unwavering determination that define their escape. This is more than a memoir, it's a living history lesson. In a world where freedom can sometimes be taken for granted, this book is a must read, especially for younger generations. It offers children and young adults a powerful perspective on history, helping them understand the value of liberty, the cost of oppression, and the importance of never taking freedom for granted. It's educational, it's inspiring, and it's deeply human. Whether you're a history enthusiast, a parent looking to teach your children about resilience, or someone searching for a story that will stay with you long after the final page, this book delivers. And the best part, 12 Bells to Freedom is available now on Amazon in hardcover, paperback, Kindle, and audiobook formats. So you can experience this incredible journey in the way that fits your life. Don't just read about freedom, understand it. Get your copy of 12 Bells to Freedom today because stories like these don't just inform us, they remind us what truly matters. That
didn't
was a
look back.
sign. It was a sign.
It was what I call God wink, and
Yeah.
I just took it all in as to say he answered me because I needed the strength of an immediate answer. So don't worry about it. Just like a bad day. When you have a bad day, like I have, there are no bad days. God tells you to do something, don't worry about it. Just go do it. It'll work out. Because I knew nothing. I had no clue what I was getting into.
Yeah, I'm going to ask, that's going to be my next question here. Never being in the medical field and with no knowledge of what's involved in the process of creating this medical device, how did you move from idea to prototype, given the regulatory and the manufacturing challenges involved? And how did those challenges test your resolve?
Yeah, there were quite a lot of resolve testing. So you know what? I because of that, I just started going, right? I said, well, the first thing I got to do is make it, right?
Right, right.
So I have a buddy, Mike Singer. He's a former cop, but he's a wingman like you wouldn't believe. And he could make anything. He could build your house. He could take apart a car, put it together, work a lathe, do the electric. Super handy guy and really sharp. So we started kicking around ideas on because the valve system was the key, to push it down to make sure that air doesn't go in.
Right.
And what I did was, if you see how it's graded,
Yeah.
I didn't want, if I just put a valve in, which I thought about doing, you could accidentally block it. You cannot block this grate because underneath is like a tunnel system, right? And it rattles because I used a ball valve and I wanted it to last forever. I didn't want it to expire and you had to buy a new one because, that adds up and then you might not get it.
Right.
So, okay, so we kick it around and probably 60 different types of prototypes with valves. We finally came up with this. Then it was engineering drawings and we got a mold made and we made it. And then we started testing it. We did cadaver. I mean, we did a simulation on a person. Now, my sister's a doctor, so she kind of started to tell me some of the things I needed to do. Right, I needed to
Right.
get first we got abstracts, and then we got peer reviewed. So I just started doing it. We pulled it on a dummy 100 times and registered. Pulled it on another dummy 100 times, registered, and just just persevering. Just keep going and doing whatever someone told me to do. And yeah, that was the beginning. And then we had breakthrough. We had a big name doctor do a peer reviewed study, and we started saving lives.
Yeah. You just persevered. You just kept going. There was
Yeah,
no quit. There was no quit.
no, well, because of the pain I had and because
No.
of my shooting star, never really thought much about it. I wanted to, in the sense of it was hard, and it
Yeah.
cost me a lot of my life savings. But I don't know. I never really thought about not doing it.
Yeah. Now, what habits help you stay focused during these periods of uncertainty? Was there anything you were doing? Some sort of habit, perhaps?
That's a good question. I mean, building an air freight company is pretty tough. It's 24 hours a day, 365. We're running trucks, we're doing everything. So I was used to working really hard. So I just always just worked as hard as I could. I didn't really. I'd be up at 4 in the morning on my phone researching avenues and contacts and numbers and posting and all that stuff. I don't know, man. I just went. Just
Yeah.
went as hard as
That
I could, as long
that
as I
you that's
could.
just the way you were wired.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, your book, you talk about uh, eliminating the word can't. What does that mean to you?
Well, my dad worked on the space program. My name's actually on the moon because I'm Arthur Lih the third, and he's the second. And he's the one who got his name on the moon. I'm a sociologist. He was a very talented engineer, but we weren't allowed to say the word can't. Like we would, my dad, hey, you know. And at the time, I didn't think much of it. Right? It just started to. It was. Oh, you weren't allowed to use the word. I don't know why. Who cares? But what I learned is when you get rid of that word, and even if it's in that simple thing, hey, you want to go to the pizza place? I can't. I got to mow the lawn. Well, you just lied, right? You could go, but you think you got to go mow the lawn. So as I started to get into the real world, and people would say it constantly, you can't do that. You can't do this. What about this? You can't do that. And I would tell them, you can't, that word's not acceptable. So I started to build a team of people that had to rethink the use of that word, right?
Right.
So think of the example. I can't go get pizza. Now let's say you say, I'm not allowed to say that word. Well, you just paused, right? So now you got to rethink and say, you know what? I could mow the lawn later. I will go have pizza. Or you say, I'd love to, but I really have to go mow the lawn. But that pause, where you realize you could, you choose not to, was deep in me from a little kid. So that whenever anything happens, since then to now, I never think of what I quote unquote can't do. My mind immediately goes, what can I do? Kid choked to death. What can I do? You know, my
Yeah.
car broke. What can I do? So that depth of getting rid of that word trained my being and my brain to immediately say, I don't care what I am not able to do. Who cares? I will immediately start thinking of what I can do. And it's just I wrote it because I didn't realize the impact that my dad had by eliminating that word.
Yeah. A lot of other people, maybe after hearing you, might start thinking that way, I hope.
I think it was the biggest change in a micro environment to my brain, because you have to address things honestly.
Yeah.
And I think too,
Because
people get
otherwise, I can't do it. It's just a cop out.
right, and it becomes so easy.
Yeah.
You don't pause. Hey, I can't do that. Well, you didn't even think about it, man. Maybe you
Right,
could.
right.
So that was pretty powerful.
Do you have any daily disciplines that keep you mentally strong?
Uh, I try and pray at night. I try and catch as many sunsets as I can to be grateful, and just to shut everything down and uh, think about the moment and say thanks for another day. Uh, I try and exercise. Nothing, I would say, that is in stone. You know, throughout the day, trying to find something to be grateful for and slow my brain for a second.
Yeah, gratitude's very important, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I think it's everything because, you know, uh, otherwise you start, uh, you don't realize how lucky we are. Then what's your point and keep going? Is
Yeah.
you can't. There's no reason to chase things. We all have it. God willing, we got it pretty good.
So why is choking such an overlooked cause of preventable death? And could you repeat those statistics again that you rattled
Yes.
off with?
Well, that was the first shock of that night and scared me, and why I said I got to do something quick. It's 5,000. It's 5,000 reported deaths a year. One child every 5 days.
That's in the
Now,
US. In the US.
in the U.S., so it's over 100,000 globally choked to death.
Wow.
But here's why: because we never had a solution, right? So you did the Heimlich, and that was it. And if someone died, you'd say, "What a tragedy! They did everything they could do." You know, that's just, hey, what are you going to do, right?
Yeah.
And because it's spread out, those 5,000 deaths are spread out in elder care and.
The It's a Wrap with Rap podcast, the podcast of hope, resilience, purpose, and the pursuit of wellness, has the privilege to educate our audience about TeleWellness MD, a physician-led telehealth platform connecting eligible patients with licensed providers for prescription-based wellness therapies that practices education first and oversight always. TeleWellness MD is not a supplement company, not a replacement for primary care, and does not ship without provider approval. All treatments require medical review. TeleWellness MD works as follows. An account is created for you, a consult with a physician occurs, an order for therapy ensues when prescribed, and you now start your wellness journey. Ongoing support is included. There are no additional fees required. TeleWellness MD focuses on metabolic health, recovery, energy, hormonal balance, sexual wellness, healthy aging, cognitive clarity, and immune support, all under licensed medical supervision. What is included with TeleWellness MD is one price and complete care. Included are a provider review and prescription by a licensed medical provider, prescriptions prepared by state-regulated U.S.-based compounding pharmacies, all the required supplies when applicable, the listed vial size and concentration, fast, discreet shipping directly to your door, and ongoing support, which includes access to the TeleWellness MD live U.S.-based support team. No memberships, no add-on fees, and no surprises. Are you curious? Learn more and connect with a licensed provider to determine whether treatment may be appropriate for you. Please use the link provided to access the website and receive a 25% podcast discount on your first order.
Homes and schools, that it's so common that it's not a big news thing, right? It's local news. Guy choked in a restaurant, kid choked at school. Every year, 6 kids choke to death in school, about, right? If
Right.
we looked at it on that level, like a national thing, and said every year over 100 kids have choked to death in school since I started, we would be like, oh my God, what is it? Disease or fire, blah. But it's micro, because before the LifeVac, they did what they could do, and it was a horrible tragedy, and you move on. So part of the battle has been to raise awareness, right?
Right.
And it's the other thing that's wild. We pulled out over 200 different things from kids, right? Hot dogs, grapes, absolutely dangerous. Cut them. Watch your kids. Get trained too. But pieces of foam, dog food, cat food, pieces of plastic, leaves from the yard, hair clips, hair buns, um, earbuds. It's an amazing list, and it really makes you think that I get it. I get why so many kids choke. They're crawling around, they can find anything. Micro piece of plastic from a you open like a devil dog, probably aged myself, but that piece of plastic, choke.
Now, what about adults? What have you found they choked on?
Well, they're more typical. It's a lot of steak, but here's the thing with the elderly: as you age, we all get a little weaker. But
Yeah.
all the neurologics, our number one neurologic is Parkinson's. We've probably saved hundreds that have Parkinson, because that nerve dysfunction, if it happens when you're swallowing, boom, it stops.
Yeah.
So any neurologics, Parkinson, MS, cerebral palsy, Down syndrome, dementia, and if you're bedridden or in a wheelchair, there's really no way to Heimlich you, you know, and you may be too frail or too large for your elder partner to save you. So in the UK, we have thousands of elder care saves because they focused that on early on. We're catching up now with, as we gain momentum in the environment, but very dangerous eating and swallowing for anyone with any kind of neurological condition.
And the life vac would save them.
Yeah, we've saved thousands of them. And, like I said, man, the goal was simple. It's Home Depot sink plunger. So
Yeah.
that's it. Done. And that pulls, I just pulled snot out of my nose. That pulls, that pulls about 300 millimeters of mercury, which if you took the deepest breath you could take and coughed, that's about the force it pulls. So it won't hurt you, but it'll certainly dislodge what's stuck in your airway.
Could you please share with us the first life vac save story and
Yeah.
maybe another save story that still stays with you?
Well, I got two that really will always, but the first one's a God wink, right? So I think we were in it 3 years, and my daughter Jackie was standing in front of me. She was ready to go to school. So, you're lucky you got a couple minutes in the morning.
Right.
And I look at my phone and it says, call me, we saved our first life. It was from my buddy in the UK. I say, Jackie, look, we did it. We did it. And we're both tearing up. I call him up. I say, hey, Matt, what's the scoop? I was in an elder camp, mate. The woman tried the Heimlich in the back pose. It didn't work. And she ran and she got the life hack. And then Jackie pushed it and pulled it and the object came out. And I said, what? What'd you, Jackie? He goes, yeah, mate. The nurse's name was Jackie. The first save ever was done by the same person, same name that my little girl who I made it for. If that
Yeah.
ain't a God wink, if that ain't
That is
someone
that is
saying,
yeah.
yeah,
Absolutely.
saying you got it. I told you you'd be all right. And I'll never forget that moment because we were just looking at because she was with me in the garage when I made it. She,
Yeah.
I have pictures of her playing with it and trying to make it work.
Yeah, I saw that in the book. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was a great, great moment. I'll always treasure that one. Unbelievable.
Is there another one that stays with you? Another story?
Yeah, our first little, there's a lot of them, but the other one that really hit me because of my accident was I was holding this little boy, Killian. He was our first child saved. He was our first little boy. We saved the little girl, but she was on the West Coast, couldn't get there. So I'm holding him, and this beautiful little dude, and he's got his hand in my mouth. He's a kid. He's a baby. I'm good. And
Yeah.
I looked over at his parents and his grandparents, and we were all just in awe that this little dude was here. You know, I've never felt a moment of such gratitude because that's an odd thing to feel. But every one of us was just beaming with gratefulness that he was there, you know? And I said, I'd say what their lives were destroyed if we didn't do this. I could see them. Both grandparents and both parents would have been just a mess. And
Yeah.
instead, I'm holding this little dude and we're all going, life's good. So those two are they're the ones that really kind of pushed me inside.
No, absolutely. Now, to date, could you go over that again? How many lives have been saved by LifeVac?
I think we're at 5,600 something. We're coming up on 5,700. And I know we are at about 3,300 children.
So, when there is a save, how do you find out about it?
Well, my guess is those numbers are half because I'll be out all the time and someone will say, yeah, I saved, did this. And I'll say, did you report it? They're like, no. And I don't care. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's good. But what you go to our site, if you use it, I give you a free one because I don't want goop in here in these bellows, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I see what you're
So
saying.
I figure instead of trying to get you to clean it, just tell me and I give you a free one and I get to know the story and I got to know some amazing parents. So that's how they fill out a full report and it's pretty detailed because we're trying to make sure everything's good. At least
Yeah.
I was in the beginning.
Sure.
And age, what they choked on, how many times you pulled it, what else do we can, did it come out on the first one? Flat out, do you feel it saved their life? And I just got one before it came on. I think we got 5 saves today.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. It is. What is what does preparedness mean beyond emergencies? Have you ever experienced something so perfectly timed, so meaningful that it felt like more than coincidence? What if those moments weren't random at all? What if they were messages? Today, we're talking about a powerful and thought provoking book, The Divine Language of Coincidence: How Miracles Transformed My Life After I Began Paying Attention, by Sophia Demas, a work that invites us to look at life through a completely different lens, one filled with meaning, purpose, and connection. This book has been recognized as a 2021 Gold Award winner. In a world that often feels chaotic and unpredictable, Sophia presents a compelling idea that coincidence is not accidental. It is intentional. It is a language, a divine language that speaks to us through patterns, timing, and experiences that nudge us in the direction we are meant to go. This book is not just about belief, it's about awareness. Through powerful insights, reflections, and deeply relatable moments, Sophia encourages readers to slow down and recognize the signs that are already present in their lives. Those chance encounters, those repeated numbers, those moments where everything aligns just right. She challenges us to stop dismissing them and start listening because maybe, just maybe, those moments are guiding us. The Divine Language of Coincidence is a book for anyone searching for clarity, purpose, or reassurance. It speaks to the part of us that wonders if there's something more, something deeper, something meaningful behind the events of our lives. And what makes this book especially powerful is its accessibility. You don't have to be deeply spiritual or religious to connect with it. You simply have to be open to the possibility that life is communicating with you in ways you may not have noticed before.
It's about finding meaning in the journey. It's about recognizing that even in uncertainty, there may be guidance. And it's about understanding that your life story may be unfolding with more intention than you realize. So here's a question to sit with today. What if the moments you've been calling coincidences are actually signposts? What if they're pointing towards something greater? If that idea sparks even a little curiosity, then the divine language of coincidence is a must read. Pick up your copy today, take your time with it, and begin to notice what starts to shift, not just around you, but within you. Because sometimes the answers we're looking for aren't hidden, they're simply waiting to be recognized. The divine language of coincidence, how miracles transformed my life after I began paying attention, is available in paperback and Kindle formats from Amazon, Books A Million, or wherever books are sold.
Situations to you.
Man, to me, it's your mental Rolodex. I mean, I think that are, we have to use our internal brain, our intuition. Um, but I really do think, obviously, reading education is good, but the mental toolbox is the ability to adapt and be prepared. Obviously, in choking, we like you to get trained and have a life back.
Now, what advice can you give for people out there, especially entrepreneurs, facing overwhelming odds? What can you tell them?
Well, I mean, in the middle of the book is about my accident because it's subtly to tell you to keep going. Whenever I sign anything, whenever I put anything, I write keep going. Now, I honestly did not want to keep going, but I felt it would have been selfish to, to take, myself out and destroy my mom like I saw those families destroyed. So I think you got to use it the same way as what's a bad day. Just keep going. Get through today. Get through today. Think about it now. If I had not made it, all those people would be dead.
Yeah,
In a million years, that I think I would be inventing a life saving device, right? So
right.
if you're struggling, just keep going. I don't know what's going to happen, but if you keep going, something will. And just be a good person, believe, and do the right thing and work hard. I promise you. Look at me. Look what I did. I mean, I was a sociology major and I had a trucking company. I have a global medical company. So,
That's wild.
yeah, just keep going. Just keep going. Even when you think you can't, walk, crawl, whatever you got to do.
What does success truly mean to you today?
5,600 lives saved. And that's about 13,000 parents. It's about 26,000 grandparents. That's about, I don't know, 100,000 friends, families, aunts, and uncles don't know what I know. That's a
Right.
success.
Yeah.
And when they're trying to jam me in the grave, if I'm not at a million lives saved, I'm going to pull that guy in with me, pummel him, climb back out because I ain't going.
What legacy do you hope LifeVac leaves in the world?
I have this little vision that someday this, a guy with his buddy maybe talking about something they don't think they could do. And they say, I heard that guy, some guy made that thing in his garage out of nothing. And he did that. I don't want it to be me. I don't care about me. I'm a grain of sand. But if we can have that legacy of whatever the heck is the problem, you could do it, right? Like,
Right.
how cool would that be if two people said, that guy did it in the garage with a sink plunger? We could do this, right?
Yeah.
He
Right.
didn't know anything. He's a truck guy. I don't know who he is. Doesn't matter. That would be cool. That would be cool.
What does real courage mean to you?
Real courage is doing the right thing no matter what the heck is your problem, no matter what you're facing. Gotten my head punched in, but I always did what I thought was right. And I think it's so easy. Just know what's right and do it. Don't be afraid, right? If it's the right thing to do it. And it will work out, I promise.
Now, can you tell us a little bit about the book, which is an excellent read? Sorry, Can't is a Lie, and what you hope the readers take away from reading it?
Well, I mean, the subtle thing is to see me overcome what I went through, right? And that's kind of, I don't want you to read it for that reason, like, oh, I'm thinking of ending myself, so I read. No, but it is subtly there to say, look, don't give up, you know. But the bigger part is how we determine what is right and wrong, right? How we determine what are our foundation levels that are non-negotiable when making a decision, when working towards something, right? How do we learn what's right, what's wrong, how to do stuff? And you read it, it's from the Little Rascals to my dad to
Yeah.
movies,
Yeah.
they were things that stuck in me that foundationally made me say, okay, that's the right thing. This isn't the right thing. Don't give up. So I really was kind of opening up to me the thought process of determining your own value system, however you get it, you know, family, friends, movies. I don't know. Hey, nowadays, I don't know. Maybe it's TikTok, but make sure that that lesson stays with you. I learned all about empathy and not manipulating a person because my buddy threw a rock across the canal and hit someone in the head, you know, and that always stuck with me that I kind of was not very good and I didn't do the right thing. And I took advantage of them and I should have stopped them instead of encouraging them. But then my whole life, I said, don't take advantage of that person and certainly don't lead them down a bad path. That would be wrong. So I learned.
Yeah.
So it's really that's kind of the funny. There's a lot of funny stories, and the hope is to help people find their own foundations.
Can you tell us a little bit about your speaking advocacy, uh, work on choking and choking prevention?
Well, I mean, choking prevent awareness day was Saturday, but I will go and educate people on LifeVac, and in the process, obviously, go through the all the awareness, right? The number of people, the way you get trained. I believe that because there's now something solid connected to this mythical do the Heimlich, that we can raise awareness in general, right? More people will get trained and we'll save more people that way. Only about 18% of the population are trained. So I hope that the bigger picture is more people get trained. Maybe you need life back less. I hope so. So I tend to, and I also will speak at, I've spoken at, troubled youth places and stuff, more on the inspiration on the book on that, which I love to do and try and, inspire them by saying, I drove a truck and I made a medical product. I don't care why you're here or what you're doing, you could do it. And don't tell me you can't, because can't
Yeah.
fly.
Now, you said 18% of the people aren't trained. Are you saying 18%
Are trained.
are trained? I'm sorry. So 72% aren't trained. You're talking about the Heimlich maneuver?
Yeah. Yeah. So
Okay.
I would like to see that number go up as awareness. We had 80 million views on a woman that saved her baby in a restaurant. We had she's had another. I had 19 million on a mom who talked about saving her kid, but she still had throw up on her, and she was like, "I just saved my kid. I'm trained." Now she was trained. She was a EMT. Didn't work, but the hope is that because there's something tangible to it, that
Yeah.
you can hold, you say, what is it? Because no one talks about choking, you know.
No,
But
no.
I tell you, if they do, if there were 7 people sitting here, had it today. Some lady told me that the lady at the front desk that her friend's mom choked to death. So if you were sitting there with 7 people, 5 of them would have an issue. I choked, my kid choked, I did this, no one died. And 1 to 2 will say they know someone who died. That's how common it is.
Wow.
It just never comes up.
Yeah. It's one of those things that
Yeah.
not
It's
too
not
many
like,
people.
hey, let's talk choking.
Yeah. Yeah. How can people contact you and learn more about LifeVac and obtain it?
Best way is to go to lifevac.net. You can see the whole of saves. You can read about the saves. You can see how it works. I do a demo There's a training section. You get really comfortable. I mean, I did everything I could to try and make you understand. It comes with a practice mask. We encourage you to practice. Just get that feel.
Yeah,
Doesn't hurt. We've had people say they were much more calm. They were much more collected. They were less likely to panic because they knew they could do something. You know. So lifevac.net, and we'd love for you to check it out. I got to get to that million saves.
absolutely. Now, would people be smart to have it in their automobile
Yeah,
as well as their home?
yeah. We
Uh,
the actually the first kid that got saved, the mom was traveling and she had it in her bag and she had to dig through and get it. And I was like, oh my god, I was scared. And I said, we got to make a travel one, right?
yeah,
Put one in your car and leave one at home. Don't,
right.
if your husband takes the car because you went to dinner last night and God forbid that's the one time. So the ideal situation, you keep one under the sink, and we have a nice little yellow travel pack. You throw it in the car, you throw it in your suitcase, you go to the baby. God, we've had so many people, babies and others, saved because it's been in a diaper bag. Hundreds of saves.
Wow. Okay. Uh, I want to thank you, Art, for being on the podcast and sharing your amazing journey to bring this incredible life-saving device to fruition. And I want to wish you good fortune going forward with your advocacy work, making this a better world.
This was fun, actually. I may have talked too much, but you did a good job pulling it out of me. So I
No, no,
appreciate
you did a
I
great
appreciate
job.
it.
And what you did inventing this, God had a plan for you, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
And who knows? You may come up with something new, totally new.
Okay, la 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 la.
I know
Fun.
you want to sit back and go fishing or whatever, but I don't know.
Hey, if
You're
he
a pretty
tells me to
talented
do it,
guy here.
he tells me to do it, I'll do it. But I'm kind of hoping he says, go play golf or go in the wood shop.
Well, thank you again. People out there, if you have any comments or suggestions, email me at it's a wrap with rap at gmail.com. Our Facebook group is It's a Wrap with Rap. There's about 2,000 people in there. It's a private group. Email me if you want to get in. We're on X at Rapper, WRAPPER 130. We're on most of the social media platforms. Our website is it's a wrap with rap.com. Don't forget, on the website, we have our book nook, and it has a bunch of books that have been authored by our guests. And you'll also see the book nook listed in our biweekly newsletter. YouTube, It's a Wrap with Rap, the podcast, uncut. All the episodes are on there. I want to thank everyone for listening or viewing. Want everybody to please stay safe. And for now, it's a wrap.